Hello everyone. Welcome to this session in which we'll start talking about CAT 21. So CAT 21 will happen next year, November end, and like I said, there are 13 months from now. CAT 21. So CAT 21 is 13 months from now. So it sounds like a lot of time, but it will fly away like this. And I'm not saying with a ridicule or with that parent who tells that the time will fly away very fast. Not like that, but I'm saying that look at it from a different standpoint. Look at it from an ulta standpoint. See what happens that test series start later only. Even if you study very hard in these 3 months, in say November, December, January, February, even if you study very hard for these 3 months, the test series is going to start at a later stage only. A test series in which you will sit for 2 to 3 hours and you will compete with others, or you will not compete with others, you will just see your own process. So those test series will at a later point of time. When I say series, my series sort of starts talking to me. But the point is that what you can do right now is that you can go through all the concepts, you can cover all the concepts. Since a lot of videos are already recorded on the Unacademy app, you can do your own self preparation. You can time your preparation. You can balance your preparation in the way you like it to be. We will tell you what it should look like, but then how do you want to do it and when do you want to do it, that is that's your choice. And I'll say that at this stage, every day if you just sit for 15 to 20 minutes and solve one question from every section, and just check whether the solution is right or not, and read a relevant concept, I think it is more than enough at this stage. Because that's solving of one question every day. So after 15-20 days, 1 month, you will feel like if you feel like okay, I should start doing more questions. So start doing 2 questions, 3 questions of each from each section every day, and naturally your number of hours and minutes you are spending in the preparation will improve. So in that way, I think it is extremely helpful to start early. And then if you are a kind of a person who would like to start early, who would like to start early on and to prepare things early, then I think and you want to achieve the skills earlier, and you want to have a head start basically, then I think preparing early helps a lot. It also really helps you from a skill standpoint also. It helps you from the planning standpoint also. So even if the test series start somewhere in May, June or July, even May, June, July is not very far, right? So if you have covered your concepts, and say you get your semesters now, or you get your some final in December, and say another semester in say June, April, May, June. So keeping into if you take out all those days which you've missed your preparation, I think you are not too early. You're a little early than others who would start at a later point of time, but you're not too early also. So like I said, that if you keep preparing couple of one question a day, if you start one concept a day, if you start from one section, from one topic, and keep doing it for next 4 or 5 months, and keep looking at the errors which you're making and keeping a track of your errors, then I think the whole will be much easier. The test series, I think, will become much easier. So this is how it is. And my name is Anupam. I have responsible for more than 3,100 hours of CAT training, trained more than 3,500 students for CAT, and I've also developed verbal ability questions for clients such as GMAC and Delhi Police, Peramil, and other. So these numbers will sort of double up if I include my entire verbal ability training experience in field of when it comes to GRE, GMAT, and PSUs and banking and other central government entrances. So have lot of, you can say, 700 to 800 hours of training experience and train more than 7,000 to 8,000 students in the field of verbal ability. So Unacademy, to stay in touch, download Unacademy app, install it, go to Plus, go to CAT, and subscribe, and utilize. And so Unacademy, what is there, what is special in Unacademy, and what is Unacademy, since this is a first class? So Unacademy is it's an online training and online coaching platform. We don't have any offline setup. It's only and only offline. It's only and only online. And I think somebody has just joined. I don't know. It is only and only online. There's nothing which we do offline. And on this platform, you get a lot of so what we do is to sensitize you, to sort of make you aware of what we're doing. We come on YouTube every day. We teach you here. We give you an option of asking questions live here. And at the same time, we have a lot of free classes on the Unacademy app as well. Right? And on the app, there are free classes, live classes, the way they take place on the YouTube channel as well. Okay, and why the app? Because app, if you look at the pricing, this is the most amazing pricing which you can look at. So I think anything, since this is a 20 to 21 class which I'm taking, so I think anything more than 12 months makes sense. So anything with respect to our if you look at it, then 12 months. So for 12 months, then we're charging you 15,750. So now this is the most adequately priced platform which you can subscribe to, and the kind of material which we provide to you, the kind of so if you subscribe to Unacademy, you get a lot of plus classes. So plus classes are only for the people who have subscribed to the Unacademy, and in those classes we can really mentor you, we can really talk to you, and we can really solve your problems. We can handhold you a lot, right? So please do that, and try and see if you can do. And if you look at it, we have got these EMI options also available on 6, 12 and 24-month subscription. And if you look at for the pricing for 6 months is again very less, 14,000 rupees for 6 months, and for 24,000 is 18 for 24 months it is 18,900 after using the code Saxena Live. So you can apply this code. And the thing is that, I mean, I think that if you will only do free sessions, it will not help you, because the test series, like I said, solving questions. So where should you be solving questions? The questions should be solved online, right? Okay. So the concepts which you should be solving, those questions should be solved online, and online may access you if you will only get if you subscribe to Unacademy. And the kind of classes and the amount of classes which we are giving to you, that is amazing. And the pricing is, like you've seen, it is the most subsidized in the entire industry. Now let's talk about verbal ability reading comprehension section. So in verbal ability reading comprehension section, the topics are so they ask, basically they divide into 2 sections. What has happened till this year? Now when I say CAT pattern, this is the pattern till the last year. If say 2021 in the month of August or September, if the IIMs decide that they want to change the pattern, then they can change it also. But the point is that we would help you to prepare in a way that you will be able to manage anything and everything which comes in the VARC section. So nothing which you don't see here will come in actual CAT. So I will make sure that it doesn't happen, at least to you. Now the topic which is asked, which is important, is reading comprehension, or the RC topic. This topic is reading comprehension. Reading comprehension what happens that they'll give you a passage like we used to have in our school days, right? There used to be these long passages, and those passages, after those passages, we used to call them unseen passages, like the passages which we have not seen in our actual text, in our textbooks. So something from outside, unseen passages. And then there were questions based on that, on the unseen passages that were given. Similarly, they will give you these paragraphs, or they give you these passages which will be taken from very good quality magazines, journals, scientific papers, articles, and editorials. And these passages will come from very diverse kind of very diverse genres. They can be from history, they can be from psychology, they can be from geography, they can be from social sciences, from law, from your philosophy, from biology, from ocean biology, from botany, about plants, about animals, about human-animal conflict. They can be about penguins, about whales, about sharks, about birds, wildlife, about technology, about robotics, Olympics. So they can cover any sort of anything under the sun they can be asking. But what you have to understand is that it is not necessary that you have read that very topic. It is not necessary that you have read that very article or editorial in your preparation. What is important is that you have read a variety of topics, and you have also solved variety of RCs, and you have got into habit of making, which is most important, is to making summary of the RC while you're solving it, making asking yourself, what is the central idea of this RC? What is the primary purpose of this RC? What is the intention of the author behind writing this piece? Okay, what can be, like I said, what can be the title of this RC? Because I tell you what happens. The questions which are formed, in a way that are not formed by the same people who write the editorials. So the piece which is written, that is just taken from, say, some magazine, and the question paper setter is a different person, and he or she will also make notes and understand the topic and the piece before writing questions for you. Now this person writes the questions, this person writes the options in his or her own language, generally with an intention to make it a little difficult for you. So if you have understood the RC properly, then talking about it and solving questions based on it will become extremely easy for you. Okay. Then comes your verbal ability. Verbal ability mein they'll ask you parajumbles. So there'll be these 4 sentences which are scrambled up, which are jumbled up, and you have to unjumble them. You have to unscramble them. You have to put them in the proper order. Then you have these odd one out questions, in which there will be these 5 sentences given, and then you will have to find which sentence doesn't fit in, and 4 of the left out ones, they can be arranged, but 1 will not be arranged. Then comes the best summary. That if a paragraph is given, which of these sentences is the best summary. So in that way it can be arranged. So the best summary mein question, what happens that you have to look for the line which captures. So what happens? A paragraph is given, and then 4 options are given. So the best summary will capture almost all the points. It will capture the essence of the paragraph given. It will also it will also not add anything extra to the piece given, and it will try and contain most of the ideas given and most of the ideas presented given in the paragraph. Generally, the time allotted is 60 minutes. For this year, they have made it 40 minutes. Only for this year, this for 2020. But generally, the time which is allotted is 60 minutes. So this is how it is. There is negative marking, of course. There is negative marking, and so there is negative marking of -1, and for correct answer you get +3. And then there are some questions which are theta questions. Type in the answer questions. So out of in verbal ability, sometimes say 6 to 7 questions, they're theta. Okay, and RC may there are around 24 questions in total, which are non-theta, and they are like which are normal. Option based, and this is again option based. So this is roughly this is an approximate I'm saying. This may not be true for every year. So in theta, what happens? There are no negative marks. So in theta, there is no negative marking. But there are no options also given. One has to type in the answer. Right. And in option based questions, and in option based questions, there is negative marking -1. But in theta, which is known as a type in the answer type question, there is no negative marking, and there are no option involved. There'll be a text box given, and in that text box you have to just type in the answer. Right? So this is little, I don't know if you've understood it or not. I'll explain it to you later. If you have doubts, please ask me here again. We'll come to so basically what I was trying to say that in verbal ability section, roughly 34 questions are asked, 24 questions of RC are asked, and 10 questions of verbal ability are asked. Out of the verbal ability 10 questions, sometimes around 7 to 8 questions are given in which options are not given. There are no options, there is just a text box. They are the theta. So theta question in a way that you have to type in the answer. In these questions, there is no negative marking. Okay, but if you mark them correctly, you get 3 marks. So in that way also, I think that like I always say that I'm a big fan of the verbal ability questions, which is the para jumbles and para summary and odd one out, for this very reason also. That one is that they are very easy to understand and they're easy to grasp. Less time requires them to master them, and less time is required to answer those questions also in the actual CAT, or if you see in your mock test also. So that is the entire thing. And some of them also don't carry negative marks. They have to just type in the answer, and that is that, and and if your answer is correct, you will get +3, and if your answer is not wrong, there is no negative mark. So in VARC, what are the knowledge and skills that are required? So in VARC, the knowledge and skills which are required are of vocabulary knowledge, of course. So vocabulary knowledge is extremely important. It is really important because it is see what happens that sometimes there are certain words which can pose a bit of a difficulty for you. Now in CAT, we try and understand, say if a mentor is experienced and the mentor is good, she will try to make you realize that vocabulary knowledge, even if you do not have a complete understanding of a lot of words, it's all right, because sometimes there will be a situation in which even if you've read a lot of vocabulary and you've understood a lot of vocabulary, you've put a lot of effort, some one word will come, a couple of words will come in a particular RC which you haven't heard of. So at that point of time, reading the sentence, understanding the context, understanding the meaning, by reading the sentence, reading it over and over again, and reading 2 lines above and reading 2 lines below that the sentence where that particular difficult word has been used. So if you read the entire paragraph, and if you are solving RCs, you are reading diverse text, then naturally you will be able to understand what that particular word means and what is the actual how it, in which flavor it is being used. However, but at the same time, it is important that certain amount of effort is put in, is devoted in understanding and in improving your knowledge of vocabulary. Now, how you can do that? For understanding, for improving your vocabulary skills, there are some online portals which provide you vocabulary knowledge free of cost. They will give you these flashcards, and you can note down a couple of words every day. You can write down their synonyms and antonyms, and if possible, you can use them in a sentence also. And you can keep on coming back to those. So you can make one notebook specifically for vocabulary knowledge and understanding. And there are a lot of books also in the market which you can use, and which can be helpful in your vocabulary awareness improvement. And if you put in, and even if you're reading newspaper every day, which I will come next basically. So if you're reading newspaper every day, then in the newspaper also, especially in the editorial section, you will find some difficult words. Even if you note down those words and write 2-3 words every day, or 1 word every day for a starting, just its meaning, its pronunciation, and its few synonyms and few antonyms. Then after a couple of months, you will see that you have improved your vocabulary immensely. And then comes grammar. Grammar mein what happens that grammar mein how it is important here is that sometimes certain grammar concepts are helpful in solving questions also. For example, we will also do now that say in parajumbles or an odd one out, a pronoun like this, it, these, them, connecting these pronouns are connecting to some other noun given in the previous sentence. So if that sentence is somewhere in the scrambled up or in the jumbled up paragraph, you can understand okay, this pronoun given in sentence number B is actually referring to the proper noun given in sentence number D, and hence DB is the pair, right? So in that way, I think grammar is also helpful. And there are other many uses of grammar. See, grammar gives you a lot of confidence also. So what I'm going to say that vocabulary and grammar, they are not directly asked in the CAT question paper, but they are extremely helpful. Then comes the point that critical reasoning. So critical reasoning में क्या होता है that the questions which they ask you, they are like this. That so critical reasoning, again, direct questions are not asked, but critical reasoning is applied in parajumbles, parasummary, and odd one out questions. So critical reasoning, when I say, it refers to what? It refers to your inferences. It refers to drawing inference from a sentence, drawing an understanding what is the assumption given in the sentence, understanding what is a key point given in this sentence, right? So that is your critical reasoning, where your critical reasoning is honed. And if you can understand inference, if you can understand assumption, if you can understand argument, if you can understand what is the premise behind the statement given, then solving parajumbles, odd one out, and best summary becomes a lot easier. So here there is a question from CAT which we'll solve at a later point of time. Let's read it. Let's read it itself right now. What is the connection happening? Okay. It says the process of handing down implies not a passive transfer, but some contestation in defining what exactly to be what exactly is to be handed down. The process of handing down, it doesn't mean only passive transfer, but doesn't mean that you're just transferring, but there is some argument, some contestation in defining what exactly is to be handed down. Okay, this is that what handing down means. When you give down a culture, or you give down knowledge, transfer knowledge to your juniors in an organization. It can also refer to the culture or the knowledge which we pass on to the younger ones, to our kids, and to our nephew, nieces, everyone. Whenever Western scholars have worked on Indian past, the selection is even more apparent, and inventing of a tradition much more of a tradition much more okay. So they are saying that whenever Western scholars have worked on Indian past, the selection, so they have been selective about it, has been more apparent, and the inventing of a tradition much more recognizable. Every generation selects. So they are talking about selection here and inventing of it. So let's see how does it work out. Every generation selects what it requires from past and makes its innovation some more than other. So they're saying that generation is selective. Now it is a truism to say that traditions are not handed down unchanged, but they are invented. Okay, and then they say that just as life has death as its opposite, so is tradition by default the opposite of innovation. Okay, so let's we've read this. Let's come to okay. So again, there is a repetition here. We're talking about which we've discussed also, that VA 24 questions and RC 14 questions are asked, and it's an aptitude based test, and exam which test your skills. We've discussed this. Let's come to RC. So RC skills में what happens that, so we'll solve this question. Just give me a little time. I wanted to just complete a little bit of more theory before you go to the practical ones. Reading comprehension skills. So reading comprehension skills में what happens that you need to do variety reading, and you also need to do summary making. This is very important. So an Indian and one international, an Indian and an international leading daily newspaper, Times of India, the Hindu, New York Times, the Washington Post, the Huffington Post, and the Guardian. So these couple of points which I've written for you. So what happens that like I was talking in the reading comprehension when we were discussing, that it is very important to read text from, or read text and understand text which have been written in diverse genres, which have been written in by diverse people, and which have been published in very diverse sort of newspapers. So it is very, very important to read diverse, so that you become more accustomed. You don't get a surprise when you actually write your CAT. Another point is that when you read diverse, you become more confident, you become more accustomed to various kind of writings. Third point is that see, if you read properly for a year, any newspapers you want, or for the starting, just subscribe to one daily newspaper, or you can do it online also. You can subscribe to one newspaper daily and go to the editorial and to the opinion section and start reading the so you have to, what I'm saying, you have to read the editorial and opinion section. That is the point. Often Indian and an international newspaper. Okay. Right now you can only focus on Indian newspapers. International newspaper might not be when this high expectations have set from you. but you can at least read the Hindu, Times of India, anything of that sort. And politics is not involved. Just read the editorial and understand whatever is said there, and improve your skills. That is all. So you can make a chart like this. For Monday, on Monday you can study economics. On Tuesday you can study politics. Wednesday you can study philosophy. So apart from the editorial, if you of a newspaper, if you want to study diverse topics randomly, what you can do, you can make a chart for yourself. That on Monday you study economics, on Tuesday you study politics, on Wednesday you study philosophy, on Thursday you study arts, on Friday you study nature or wildlife, on Saturday you study environment, on Sunday you study business. So I think in that way you can spread out your days. Let's try and solve a question. So this is a summary making question which came in CAT a couple of years back. The conceptualization of landscape as a geometric object first occurred in Europe and is historically related to the European conceptualization of the organism, particularly the human body, as a geometric object with parts having a rational three-dimensional organization and integration. So it is saying that the entire ideation of landscape as a geometric object, it occurred in Europe, and it is historically, like with respect to if you look at the history, it is related to this entire thing in Europe, which was happening, that human body was being seen as a geometric object and as having a rational and three-dimensional. So understanding the landscape, like when you ideate something, when you believe something, when you think something about something in a certain way, that is conceptualization or ideation. And if you do it in a certain way, then that, so when they were doing this for the human body, it had an impact on other things which were related to art. So landscape, actually the context here is that they're talking about painting, about creating art forms. So if you know about the learning and the training of arts, basically, for a couple of I think initial couple of months, they're only taught human anatomy, because understanding of human body and understanding of human anatomy is very important when it comes to an artist. Artists has to portray human body in various forms. Say a lady or a man or a mother or a sister or a child. So in that way, they have sort of also mentioned it, in that way. So they have understood they're saying that they've understood the landscape as a geometric object, and that was related to the understanding of human body as a geometric object. Then they say that European idea of landscape appeared before the science of landscape appeared, and it is no coincidence that Renaissance artists such as Leonardo da Vinci, who studied the structure of human body, also facilitated an understanding of the structure of landscape. So they're saying that somewhere the artists here, which were in the period of European Renaissance. Renaissance happened in 16th century, 16th, 17th century, and Renaissance was a time when people started taking interest in the classical text, which were written by the Greek philosophers and poets and writers, and they also began to take renewed interest in music, poetry, art, and culture. So basically, Renaissance means any time or any period when there is a renewed interest in art, culture, music, poetry. So they're talking about, they're saying that there is no coincidence that Renaissance artists, when they were studying the structure of human body, they also helped the structure of the understanding the structure of the landscape. Okay. So in this way, there is some contribution which we can see here. The landscape, which had been a subordinate background to religious or historical narratives, became an independent genre or subject of art by the end of 16th century or by the beginning of 17th century. So they're saying that that landscape, which had just been a subordinate background to religious or historical narratives, it has now become an independent genre. So what is the summary here? The summary here is, if you look here, that the study of landscape as an independent genre was aided by the Renaissance artist. Right. Renaissance artists were responsible for the study of subject as a subject of art. This is not true, because they said that they helped it. They facilitated here. European idea of landscape, it sort of helped us here. So this is happening here. Then saying that they were responsible for the study of landscape. This we don't know, no? This is a bit too much. They were responsible. No, they were helpful. Landscape became a major subject of art at the turn of 16th century. The landscape became a major subject of art. Now, it didn't say that it never became a major subject of art. This was nowhere mentioned. But it became an independent subject, yes. Also, turn of the 16th century means that at the starting of it. Turn of the 16th century means that it became at the starting of it, right? But here it says by the end of the 16th century and beginning of the 17th century. Now, third one is very close, says three-dimensional understanding of organism led to the similar approach towards understanding of the landscape. See, three-dimensional understanding is just a part of it. Okay, they are saying that, talking about conceptualization of landscape as a geometric object. It was related to understanding human body as a geometric object, basically, right? It was somewhere related, and this was in part, this was helped a lot by the Renaissance artist, that because they were understanding the structure of landscape, they were also able to they were understanding the structure of the human body. They also helped in understanding the structure of the landscape. Okay? But saying that that three-dimensional understanding of the landscape in your of the organism in Europe led to the similar approach towards understanding of this is true in a way, but that's not the summary. That will not contain most ideas. So we are talking about most ideas. So this particular line covers this is the right one because it sort of captures the essence, the major essence of the entire idea. Now comes to the RC practice. So how much practice you should do in RC? You should be able to do right now, solve say 1 RC a day, and say or say you can alternate it. One day you do RC, one day you do one question from parajumble, from each parajumble, parasummary, and odd one out, and next day again, third day again do RC, then parasummary, parajumble, para odd one out, one question, so that half an hour a day or 15-20 minutes a day you do it, and then one question from your quants, one question from your DILR. But what should happen at a later stage, you should be able to solve 5 RCs at a stretch. Start from RCs in the sectional and topic wise test of the when you subscribe to Unacademy in the plus section, you will get sectional wise and topic wise test. So please subscribe to it, and you should be given 5 RCs at a, you should be able to solve 5 RCs at a stretch. You should try and start achieving at least aim for at least 80% accuracy when you are doing RCs, when you're solving RC. Let's do one more question here. The neuroscientists have just begun studying the exercise's impact within the brain cells on genes themselves. Even there in the roots of our biology, they have found the science of body's influence on mind. So they're talking about genes. Genes are connected to our roots of our biology. So there is a clear-cut connection. Also, they're talking about they have found. Remember I was talking about the grammar usage. They is referring to here to neuroscientists. So we know that 2 and 1 are a pair. Neuroscientists have begun studying, understanding the impact of exercise on brain cells. And they have found the science of body's influence on mind. Okay, now this question is also this question is basically an odd one out question. So we have to find which of the question this is. So one of the sentences will not fit in this particular paragraph. 4 of them will form a paragraph, and 1 will be your odd one out. All right. So they are saying that they have studied the impact of exercise on genes themselves, who have neuroscientists. Then they say even the roots of our biology, which is genes, they have found science of body's influence on mind. Then it says that it turns out that moving our bodies, moving our muscles, produces proteins that travel through the bloodstream and into the brains, where they play pivotal roles in the important roles, crucial roles. Pivot of a liver is where the liver hinges, right? So it's an important role in the mechanism of our highest thought processes, right? So this is how it is. So here what they're saying, they're explaining in a more detailed way how so this is again relevant. This is again part of the process. So this is all related. We can say that this all these lines, they are related. They are all green, green, green. They're all part of it. And 2113 connects. Okay, sorry, yeah, I'm sorry, it's not 2 1, it's 1 2, because we have to first say that the neuroscientists have begun understanding the exercise impact, and then we say that even there in the roots of a biology, they have found signs of the body's influence of mind. Okay, then okay, we might argue that 3 will not come here or 3 will come here. Let's read further on. In today's technology-driven plasma screening world, it is easy to forget that we are born mover animals, in fact, because we have engineered movement out of our lives. Now here talking about technology, plasma-driven, we are animals, in fact, we have engineered movement out of our lives. This is all extra. This is not relevant to it. Let's read further. In past few years, that it's only in past few years that neuroscientists have begun to describe these factors. Which factor? These factors which we mentioned here. Remember that moving our muscles produces proteins that travel through the bloodstream into the brain, where they play important roles in the mechanism of our highest thought processes and how they work, and each new discovery adds awe-inspiring depth to the picture. So 1 2 3 and 4, this is a connection. Because how? Why 3? Because 3 and 5 is a connection. Why 5? Because 3 is connecting here, right? When you say moving our muscles, they produce proteins, that plays a role in the mechanism of our highest thought processes. It connects this to this. 1 2 3 5, there's a clear-cut connection. And then Fold talks about what? Fold says that in today's technology-driven world, plasma screen world, they're easy to forget that we are born movers. In fact, we have engineered movement right out of our lives. Okay, how should we be studying grammar? Here, fourth one is the odd one out here. Because fourth one is, so what was the purpose of this question? So in odd one out questions, purpose actually matters a lot. So the purpose of the paragraph was to talk about the research which a neuroscientist has done, and that the impact the exercise has on our genes, and how it helps us, and that it has only recently started. Fourth is talking about that we have because of the science, because of the development, we have engineered movement out of our lives. Hence, this doesn't fit the bill, basically. So this is the odd one out here. Then comes let's talk about grammar a little. How do we improve grammar? Study all parts of speech, tenses, subject verb agreement, phrasal verbs, idioms and phrases. There's a book which is helpful known as Raymond Murphy for South Asian students, Cambridge, by the intermediate one. So Raymond Murphy comes in three volumes. Generally the intermediate one is helpful for you. The basic one will be too easy for you. So pick up basic one. If you can solve 9 out of 10 questions, keep it back. Pick up the intermediate one. You can also pick up RP's, which is from Oxford. So I'm just saying it. I'm just not because these books have helped me. I also have these books in front of me, so I also read this book. So if it's helpful for you, please utilize it. And so like I say, what I say about grammar: revision, usage, and practice. This is helpful. But I have to emphasize that direct grammar questions have not been asked in CAT for many years. This is just for improvement of your skills, improvement of your confidence, and make you more more confident when you're solving your RCs and other questions, basically. How to improve your vocabulary? So like we've discussed that a couple of words a day are helpful. So you need to give it due. So you need not overspend time, and you need not completely ignore vocabulary, and you need not completely or spend too much time in it. You can create your own word list. Like I said, that you can, whenever you come across a couple of difficult words, you can make a note of it. You can write the meaning, you can write its synonyms and antonyms. You can utilize your own, you can create your own word list. You can look at the word list from outside. You can use a root word method. So root word methods are your Latin and Greek root words. Okay. These Latin and Greek root words, they are sources of lot of words. So if you know one root word, on the basis of that, you can learn 10 more words. You can use that technique also. Then contextualization and visualization. So sometimes what happens that if you read a story behind a word, and if you see a picture, then remembering words associated with it becomes easier. So there are two books again here: World Power Made Easy and All About Words. These two books can also be helpful for you, and you can utilize these books to improve your vocabulary knowledge. Then comes to your critical reasoning and verbal reasoning. So your critical reasoning and verbal reasoning, they again, directly questions have not been asked for around 5 years now. But these critical reasoning and verbal reasoning basically refers to strengthening of, weakening of ideas. You have to find the inference. Inference is something which has not been stated. On understanding the premise, that is the logic behind understanding the assumption, okay, and understanding the conclusion given. So basically, if you can understand, so what is an inference? Inference is whatever you can understand from the piece given, but it is not given. It is not given directly. Premise is logic behind the inference. Assumption is what is taken for granted, basically. Which is taken for granted, which is not mentioned. So assumption is that we assume something to be true, or we assume something to be false, or assume something to be in a certain way to arrive at the conclusion. And what is the conclusion? Conclusion is nothing, but it is after understanding what are the facts given, and after assuming certain aspects, we arrive at a conclusion. So conclusion is the end result of every statement given. So we will discuss it in great detail. So this is help. So like I said, directly questions are not asked, but to improve your reasoning skills, improving your critical reasoning and verbal reasoning skills, this can be very helpful. Then applied reasoning. So applied reasoning, critical reasoning may, you can say that parajumble comes. You like we were trying to solve a parajumble here. In the beginning, we said we will do it at the end. So again, what happens that your reasoning skills, your ability to understand what are the assumptions, your ability to understand the inferences, your ability to understand the premise, that will help you in solving parajumbles. Odd one out is also same like parajumbles. You have to find which sentence will not fit in, which sentence is odd one out of these 5 lines. Best summary, you find you are given a paragraph and you have to find which is the best summary, which is the line which captures all the information given, all the ideas given, doesn't add anything, and there is nothing contrary in it to the information given in the actual paragraph. Missing line questions are sometimes given in other management entrances. In that, what happens that a paragraph is given and a line is missing from middle of the paragraph or the starting of the paragraph or at the very last of the paragraph, and one has to read 5 options and tell that which of the options will fit in there and will make the paragraph a complete one. Okay? So it is again based on your language analysis is done, context is understood, flow of ideas is understood. Hidden trial can also be done. You can put every sentence there, read it, and you can understand it. So in that way, it can be done. Let's try and solve the piece here, what we left here, the jumbled paragraph. So just as life has death as its opposite, so is tradition by default the opposite of innovation. So this is a starting line. This is where everything starts. Then tradition says that now it is a truism to say that traditions are not handed down, but are invented. Okay, so this is a connection here between 5 and 4. So 5 and 4 are together. Then if you look at 1 and 2, there's a connection here. See how? So 5 and 4 are a connection. We know it here. Then 1 and 2 is a pair also. How? Let me also teach you here how to find pairs. The process of handing down does not implies not a passive transfer, but defining what has to be handed down. And Western scholars have worked on Indian past, and they have wherever Western scholars have worked on Indian past, the selection is ever more apparent that they have been very selective. They have given preference to certain ideas, certain events, certain stories more than others. Okay, and the invention of tradition has happened. 5, 4, 1, 2 is the case. And 3 says that every generation requires selects what it requires from the past and makes its own innovation, some more than another. So 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, this is the solution. Okay, so 1, 2 is very clear why they are there, because they were talking about what exactly has to be handed over, and same thing was said here also. There is a selection done, and 3 will come here because 3 sorts of it concludes the entire story. It concludes everything by saying that every generation it selects something from the past and they make their own innovations. So that is how it is. 5, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 5, 4 will come together because 5 talks about that death is life and death are opposite. So is tradition default of innovation, but it says that it is also a truism that traditions are not handed down, but they are also invented. So 5, 4, 1, 2, 3 is the solution. So please subscribe to Unacademy, otherwise you will not get the access to, you will get live class. So there are a lot of free live classes which happen on the Unacademy app, like the YouTube classes. But when it comes to doubt solving sessions or the plus classes where you will be actually groomed or doubts will be solved, they will be only available to you when you subscribe to Unacademy, and you will get a lot of help with respect to, you get to interact with the educator. There'll be live chats, live classes, and you will get test series, like I said, sectional test, topic wise test. So if you will not get online test, how will you solve questions, how will you improve your skills, and you will also not get doubt clearing sessions. Utilize the CAD, you utilize the code Saxena Live and get 10% discount on the Unacademy subscription. Thank you very much, and